Yo, what is going on, guys? Jaquan here with Lorcanada, and today I'm bringing you a live recorded game from Locos. And essentially, we have our red blue player, my buddy William, and our amber steel player, my buddy Danelle, who actually topped first place in a set championship a couple days ago with Diggy Ho. So kudos to you, Danelle. But yeah, just wanted to bring you guys a different set of gameplay this week. Right now, Tommy's currently busy, so unfortunately, we can't use his studio to do a feature match. So hopefully, we're able to have a really nice quality game here locally, and maybe that can be something that we can do bi-weekly. Or in between, weeks where we can't have the feature matches available. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and if there's anything else that we can do to improve the experience as well. So, all right, let's get into it. I'll be commentating today's match, and as I said, it's going to be red blue, Sisu on ice versus amber steel, Diggy Ho. These two players already know what they're going up against. So again, red blue, they're probably just going to be mulliganing for those brawls, those small drop Sisu and ice blocks, and definitely the shift Sisu, because clearing that on turn 4 or 5 for the red blue player is going to be very crucial in maintaining the game state. Whereas Danelle over there with the Diggy Ho is going to just want to find a nice curvature of 1 drops and 2 drops, and then eventually holding on to those Rapunzels and just hopefully trying to get to as close to 20 lore as possible before the red-blue player establishes his board states and starts to slowly control the amber steel's board. Alright, so looks like Danelle started off with the Cindy and passed it over to William, which he then played Popsicle. So very typical first turn plays there. And then looks like Danelle dropped Calhoun on the second turn and passes it over to William. Oh, okay, so we got another Popsicle. And inking the Maleficent Dragon and passes turn. Okay. Yeah, so generally in these in this particular matchup, it is heavily favored. I would say into whoever is going on the play, because of course being amber steel, not the traditional routes of being Diggy Ho, it is quite fast. So if you're on the play there and you can really take control of gaining as much lore as possible early in the game, then you're probably gonna win. Whereas again, when it comes to the red-blue player, if he can clear your board and then start controlling every single thing that you're playing thereafter, it's gonna be very hard to actually come back from that. And I've seen red-blue players come back from being 17-18 lore behind, which is insane. Okay, so looks like William plays the small Sisu and takes out the Cinderella. So in this case here as well is if we can keep that small Sisu on board, then we will be able to get into that shift Sisu hopefully in the next few turns here. So we'll see if Danelle will be able to pull maybe Storm or Strength of the Raging Fire to just get rid of that small Sisu. Okay, looks like Danelle plays Daisy Duck, and oh, there it is. I caught it. Looks like he did have the Storm there and stormed off that small Sisu, as he is probably expecting big Sisu to come down pretty quickly. And he quests for 2 and 1 with Lilo and Calhoun, bringing Danelle over to 6 lore. And William, the red-blue player, currently still at 0. Okay, looks like William does a brawl on the Daisy Duck. Just trying to minimize the amount of lore the Amber Steel player can really gain right now. The longer you can delay the game, the better for the Red Blue players. So right now, Danelle, the Amber Steel player, is on the clock. Okay, I believe it looks like he dropped a dock, and what that does is that just discards your hand and draw 2 more cards. So it looks like he had double dock, so I guess he must have played one without the effect and then the second one with the effect. So that's the only unfortunate side with having a playset of docks in your deck, is that sometimes you can draw multiples, and because it is uninkable, it is going to be stuck in your hand until you can, essentially play them. Maybe both of them. If not, if you're really needing that ink to play something else, you could play the first one and then just discard your other one to draw the 2 fresh cards. Okay, looks like William's really digging here with how far to go. Inks the Grammatala and passes, and I believe right now he is sitting at 6 ink, I believe. Okay, so he will be able to be prepared next turn. So if Danelle does overcommit his board, it could be incredibly game changing. Okay, so it looks like we're questing with everything for 5, bringing Danelle up to 14 lore, so he's only 6 more lore away. Let's see if he can close out this game here in the next turn or so. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like Danelle storms himself on Calhoun, making Calhoun still survive because of the resist 1, allowing him to draw 1 card because he still did the damage there. So another thing to note is that Storm can be used on your own character and then comboed off with Rapunzel if you are in a pinch and really need to see some fresh cards there. Okay, so it looks like he inks the Happy. Pass his turn. Oh, there it is. Be prep. So now it's going to be an uphill battle for Danelle there, because that means every single thing that he plays could very well get answered, right? So could be seeing Sisu's being dropped every turn, since next turn William will have 8 ink. I'm not too sure if he plays Medusa or Tremaines, but there's also that. You also got the Maui Sharks and the regular Maui that you need to be worried about as well. So we'll see what he plays. Okay, looks like Danelle does Lilo. I believe that's Mr. Arrow, and then Mr. Smee. Interesting card there. I believe Arrow is a 1/3 quest for 2. Another thing William could also look for here as well to stabilize the game once he does have more characters on board is Pirate's Life. Because Pirate's Life is just the broken card that any red player can utilize. I personally like to utilize it in my Ruby Amethyst deck, because the same logic, right? So let's just say you're playing against a very aggro deck. If you're able to hold off until you do a shift Sisu or B prep, and once you stabilize the board, you can then do Pirate's Life, gaining 2 lore and making your opponent lose 2 lore. And kind of like the logic with that is maybe your opponent might be top decking at that point in time. So if let's say you're bringing him from 16 lore down to 14 lore, it's going to be quite hard, for him to actually come back from that. And then in about 2 or 3 turns, once you go wider on the board, you should be able to win from there. Okay, so it does look like William dropped a Sisu, an enchanted one at that. and cleared off most of Danel's board there, aside from his Mr. Smee. The only unfortunate thing is that Lilo does come back every turn, so you kind of do have to have a character that will stay alive long enough to keep taking out those Lilos. Otherwise, it will quest for 2, and we'll get to a very, very dangerous point for William there. But yeah, let us know in the comments there, guys, on what else you would like to see on our channel. Again, we like to diversify ourselves, with podcasts, deck profiles, gameplay videos for you guys, discussion videos. Any other topics as well you guys want to see on the channel, definitely let us know, and maybe we'll be able to accommodate for you guys there. Okay, it looks like William's thinking about what he wants to do here. He really needs to make sure that he gets every character off the board turn after turn. Because even though he was able to stabilize the board earlier, he is still only at 0 lore right now, so he does have a little bit to go here before he can actually win this. Okay, so he inks. Not too sure what that is. Looks like he's doing some math with his fingers there. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like he used a popsicle to heal the Sisu. I wonder if that means a Tamatoa is going to be dropped. Okay, so it looks like he challenges the Lilo. Sisu's going to take that 1 damage. Oh no, he challenges the Smee. Okay, so looks like he healed the Sisu with the popsicle to make sure that the Sisu does survive once the Sisu challenges in the Smee, and he drops another Sisu. My goodness. Okay, so I got 2 Sisus now, and again, these things quest for 3 lore each, so next turn he's going to be able to quest for 6. And once that dime drops, oh boy, it's going to be looking very grim for Danel here. Now, keep in mind that when it comes to Lilo being in your discard, you do have to choose to activate it prior to the draw. So keep that in mind. So once an opponent draws and they try to activate Lilo, that will be an illegal move. Keep that in mind. Okay, so looks like Danel's thinking hard, understandably, being the fact that he has to face down 2 big Sisus, 1 enchanted and 1 code foil. Very nice, actually. Very expensive, due to the fact that Ed Chu actually topped with Ruby Amethyst recently, and all those Sisus skyrocketed. And before it was like a $20 card, and now it was a $30, $40 card, so that's insane. Okay, looks like Danel drops the Pluto 4-drop bodyguard. Looks like he does not exert it. And he plays the 7 dwarf mines. Okay. I believe he passes from there. Yeah, unfortunately in this case here, the mine location isn't going to really do too much, just due to the fact that the Sisus can finish it off pretty quickly. In this case here, you really want to have a character on board, because if Sisu does try to challenge these characters, eventually it's gonna lose enough willpower and just go into the discard there. Okay, so here comes the Hiram. Sending the Popsicle to the discard and drawing 2 more cards. Generally, once we see the Hiram, and if you don't actually have an out to that Hiram, the red-blue player can snowball pretty quick. So generally, you know, a lot of times players save the brawls for the Hirams, and just takes out the Hirams at any cost. And in this case here with Diggy, I believe the only outs is maybe potentially a strength of a Raging Fire, or he would have to wait for that Hiram to quest and then attack in. But again, every challenge that you're doing is one less character you're not questing with. Oh, okay, looks like he actually does a let it go. Which is fine. It doesn't, it's not like the Amber Steel player really needs ink anyways, because he's in top deck mode. Okay. So it looks like he sings, and then the other Sisu challenges into the location, taking it out in 1 shot. Passes it over to Denel. I believe right now he's probably thinking if he wants to use Lilo or not. Okay, so it looks like he does use Lilo. Draws his card. Yeah, you have to really be able to know your deck inside and out, and all the cards that you've been using to ink. And the cards that you've played in your discard to really get a better idea, I guess, of what could potentially be your next draw. So a lot of times, you know, that could help out with whether or not you want to play Lilo from the discard, right? Because again, Lilo's only 2 cost. Looks like Denel had 7 ink. So if, let's just say, you know, you have 1 or 2 cards in your hand, and you know you top deck a 3-4 or higher drop, then you're not going to be able to play all the cards in your hand onto the board. And at this point in time, you really want to just make sure you're going as wide as possible. And oh my gosh, William throws down the 3rd Sisu. Holy smokes, that is actually insane. 3 Sisus. Oh my gosh. Don't even need Tamato. I think at this point, William, you know, anytime he does How Far I'll Go, Visions, he doesn't care about Tamato. He only wants Sisu to control the board. And on top of that, Sisu is a high quester as well. But that means the turn after, oh boy, these Sisus are going to be questing for 9, and then 10 with Hiram. So William's going to catch up relatively quick. He has a healthy hand size. Oh my gosh, there goes another brawl. Right into the Rapunzel. Oh, and here comes the Medusa. It takes out the Smee. So this is what I mean, right? Like, once you B-prep and then you throw the Sisu down, you're just going to slowly control your opponent's board until they run out of resources. So again, like, Red-Blue is a very grindy deck. It just has a very top-heavy late game in the amount of cards that it runs, right? And it looks like Denel scoops it up. Wow, that's crazy. So he couldn't get past 16 lore, and William just did a really good job with, you know, controlling Denel's board and just making sure that he's playing threat after threat that Denel, you know, wasn't able to actually do anything about. Okay, so yeah, I believe the players are probably just talking about what happened. I know that these guys are really good friends, so William's a good player as well. He's probably just giving Denel a couple of pointers here and there of maybe some things that he could have done. Maybe Denel's letting him know some of the cards that you know, he had in his hand. Okay, start of game 2. Let's see. Oh wow, okay, so Danelle mulligans one card. That's insane. What's insane too is that William won on the draw, meaning that this game he gets to go first. Looks like he starts it off by inking and plays an ice block. Danelle inks the strength and plays a daisy, which is very nice. You would like to see that. However, being the fact that William is starting first, he is going to be able to get that small Sisu one turn earlier, or even that brawl. So that daisy is probably not going to be sticking around all too long. He's going to need to see maybe 2 more 1-drops on turn 2. That might help. Okay, quest for 2. And, oh, gives William a Tamatil. Yeah, in this case here, like Daisy Duck, you really just want to start hoping that you can get speed preps, how far it'll go, brawls from the top all the way back down to the bottom. So that way that's just one less thing for you to worry about, but it could be a double-edged sword too, right? You could also be thinning out the top of the deck for the red-blue player and helping him find cards like Sisu and Shift Sisu. Okay, looks like we're questing for 1. Dano inks the Cindy. Plays a Lawrence and quest for 2. Okay, putting him to 4. Probably gonna see a Hiram here. Hiram or Tala, and then that way next turn you could also how far I'll go and sing Tala or Hiram. Okay. See an ice block. And then plays the Hiram. Yeah, it's always good to have sequencing, right? Like, even if you feel like you're not going to be using anything that, you know, could get rid of something on your opponent's board, it's just always good habit to use your ice block first, right? Because you never know, right? Even if you feel like that you're going to use all your ink and you're not going to be dropping anything like Medusa or Shift Sisu, it's just a good habit to do. So always remember your sequencing as well, right? It's like how, you know, top players, they always talk about you want to be able to draw as much cards as possible first before you make your plays, because it just gives you more options and more visibility of what type of game plan you want to be crafting, right? Okay, so looks like, if I'm not mistaken, he stormed the T-bow, sang it with Lawrence. Okay, quest with arrow. Putting Danelle to 6. But of course, William is not so far behind with 2 lore right now. And you know how quick the tables can turn based off of the first game. My goodness, the triple Sisu threat is still on my mind right now. I can't even believe that happened. I've never seen that before. Poor Danelle. Another Lawrence is being dropped. Banks a card and passes turn. Yeah, based off of a lot of the set championship results on Ink decks, it does look like Diggy Ho has become quite popular. Just due to the fact that the, meta is so fast now, but there's not too many things that can really answer Diggy Ho, especially when you're going so aggro turn after turn, and then you're just refreshing your hand with Dock. And I believe a lot of the lists play 4 Docks. Ping a lot of stuff by moving things into the 7 Dwarf Mines. You still get the broken cards like Rapunzel that you can play, Strength, Storm, and you can still open up with your typical Amber Song play of Cindy, and then singing into a song there that would remove something. Okay, so it looks like William plays the Sisu, taking out the arrow. This could potentially be dangerous because next turn you would be able to shift in a Sisu, clearing out any smaller threats that Dana would want to play. So it is crucial for him to hopefully play something a little bigger than 3. And the reason why I say 3 is because I believe there is an ice block on William's side, so he could ice block and then shift into Sisu, right? So anything that would be 3 or less will still get affected by it. Okay, so we're inking the Cindy. Storms a Sisu again. Perfect. Danelle knows. Never let that red-blue player shift that Sisu on, because that will be horrific. That Sisu is going to wipe so much things out and quest for 3, or potentially take out something. Ooh, nope. No, thank you. Okay, so looks like throws both Lawrences into the harem. I can see why he would want to do that, because he just wants to slow down the red-blue player as much as possible. Because again, we've seen how harem can snowball with the amount of card advantage you gain from it turn after turn. And especially with the red-blue player, sometimes you don't have all the pieces of the puzzle, and that's why they have cards like Vision and How Far Will Go. To start searching, the top cards of your deck there to find answers, right? Okay, so Maui drops, which is fine. I personally feel like, seeing a Maui, you don't feel as bad, because Maui is just going to take one thing out per turn, but also Maui doesn't quest. The only downside is that he could potentially sing How Far Will Go with Maui, but we'll see if he does that. Unfortunately, because Danelle chose to challenge the harem with both of his Lawrence doesn't actually have any strength right now, which is why Maui was able to take out Lawrence without taking any damage there. And potentially, if Danelle does have the Rapunzel, he is only going to be able to heal that Lawrence for 1, therefore only drawing him 1 card. So, not the greatest. Okay, so what is he gonna play now? Throws down a Pluto and Dock. Okay, discarding another Dock and drawing 2 cards. Yeah, sometimes the stars align and You use Dock's effect to draw into another Dock and sets you up for next turn, and with that Dock gets you another Dock. But there are going to be a lot of times that you're going to have probably double Dock, and maybe if you're unlucky, triple Dock in your hand. Yeah, and there it is. So Maui will sing How Far I'll Go, not making it entirely useless for the turn, since Danelle didn't exert any of his characters, so Maui can't challenge. And if you guys didn't know, he must challenge every turn due to his recklessness. Oh, there it is. B prep. Goodbye, Diggy hose board. Okay. Got a Lilo and another mine. Mine in this case here, I would feel pretty good about, just because any location after the board gets cleared would probably just going to end up sticking for 1 or 2 turns. Especially the fact that, you know, as the Amber Steel player, you already see that, you know, Maui has been dropped. And a lot of times you don't know if that other Maui in the red-blue player's deck could have very well been inked by How Far I'll Go, or just regularly as well. And I don't think they play more than 2 Mauis. So that mine is going to stay there for a while, hopefully, and get some passive lore with that. Okay, so looks like Hiram comes down, draws 2 cards, giving William a healthy hand once again. Okay, throws down a Brawl, takes out the Lilo. Lilo's probably going to end up coming back anyways at the start of Danelle's turn. Just because I believe he only has 1 card in his hand with quite a bit of ink for a very low to the ground deck. Yeah, so just as I thought, the Lilo comes back before the draw, and he draws for his turn, and let's see what he gets. I believe that's a Strength of a Raging Fire, which as of right now is completely useless. Just want to see characters. We just need characters. And there's a Storm. Storm gives you 1 card and it turns into Smee. Yeah, unfortunately at this case, like when it comes to this sort of matchup, you really have no use for these songs, because Strength isn't going to do anything unless you can go wide enough. But again, a lot of times the red-blue player is going to be able to control your board to the point where you're probably only going to end up having 1 or 2 characters on your board for the most part. And then of course Storm doesn't really get rid of anything other than the small Sisu. Anything else that he tries to ping off, the red-blue player can also just heal with Popsicle. So really in this case here, you know, Storm might actually be better damaging yourself if you have Rapunzel, and then hopefully getting that potential 3-card draw there from it. Okay, so Medusa comes down, takes out the Smee. This is where it gets a little bit dicey, because right now William has, you know, 3 characters on board, and big characters at that, right? Because one thing is important to know is that the Medusa is a 4/4, so it can trade with Lilo 3 to 4 times. And because it's only questing for 1 anyways, it's not too bad that you're using it to challenge rather than questing. Because again, your main questing power comes from cards like Maleficent Dragon, Tremaines, your Dimes, your Tamatoas, your Sisus, right? So anything that quests for 2 or more. Oh wow, okay, so looks like we do have a Queen of Hearts Rush 2-drop coming down. And that's a really clean way to get rid of that Lilo. So I'd love to see it. Definitely William's been expecting some sort of aggro variant of a meta deck to be played, so that's why he has those in there. You never know. You know, again, like having a Ruby Amethyst player even be so confident to where they're questing with Chernabog and not using his ability to pop itself to draw a card, instantly gets punished by having, you know, the Queen of Hearts just coming down on you. And again, even if, same thing, if that Ruby Amethyst player gets really confident and starts questing with their Flins, well, that Flin's not going to stick around for very long. Alright, so right now, Danelle is the Amber Steel player, and he is currently at 9 lore. And we got William, the Red Blue player, currently sitting at 5 lore. Okay, so we're questing for Lilo, bringing us up to 11. So we need about 9 more lore to win the game. Do we have enough? That's the question. Do we have enough characters that we can play turn after turn? And can the Red Blue player find any of the bigger threats that he can just drop on board? We'll see. At least that mine's been sticking around for a while, like I mentioned. It's probably gonna be gone in this turn, actually. Okay, throws down the Rapunzel. I mean, if it's the only card in your hand, there's really not much you can do, right? Because you just want to be aggressive as possible, and you really don't have much on your board when it comes to, you know, being able to take damage and healing, because I believe Lilo's stats is 1-2, pretty weak, generally doesn't survive anything for that matter, since the opponent doesn't want to have Lilo stick around anyways. So yeah, keeping that Rapunzel in your hand isn't always going to be the most beneficial, especially if you figure that your opponent is slowly gaining control of the board. Okay, Harem Quest for 1. Breaking the Popsicle, drawing 2. Oh, there it is. Sisu. Amber Steel's Bane right there. Queen of Hearts takes out the mine. Reduce the quest for 1. And I don't know. I think this is it for Danelle. I think he's cooked. He's top decking. There's really not much else you can really top deck to come back from this. Yeah, and there we have it. Honorary fist bump, and Danelle concedes. And the winner is William, Red Blue. Wow, that was awesome. 3 Sisu. Well, that's all for today, guys. So again, if you enjoy these local gameplays, then definitely let us know here, okay? Like and subscribe. Have a good one.